All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on Black Squirrel Radio in the Huddle. And like we promised, we are joined here with a very special guest, the governor of Brohio, Adam Gokowski. How you doing, man?
All I got to say, is it a coincidence that I'm here at Ebola on the campus of Kent State right now?
You know, I was thinking about that. I'm like, do I want to shake this guy's hand? I'm like, what's going on here?
Dude, oh my God, people are freaking out. I was just on Twitter and everyone's like, oh, don't worry, Kent State, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if anyone's going to make the joke yet. So I might as well be the first one. So is it a coincidence? I don't know. It's been a rough few weeks. We never know.
Yeah. Is it a coincidence that no one's ever seen me and Batman in the room at the same time together? We'll leave that there. Mm-hmm. But anywho, so like I mentioned before, he is the governor of Section 117 of Progressive Field, Brohio. For our listeners who don't know, just sort of explain to us, like, what is Brohio? What do you do? How did you get there? And
oh my gosh, it was one heck of a story. And if you're tuning in right now, some of you might already know about the story, and some of you this might be brand new to you. But so January 5th was the moment my life changed. I live in Lakewood, which for all you Pittsburghers, which we know in Kent State, there's tons of Pittsburghers out there. Oh yeah. But Lakewood is pretty much like the Monroeville of Pittsburgh. So I don't know why I have to bring up anything PA. You know, that's we might as well talk about Ebola. They both make people sick. So
absolutely.
But back to business. So I'm lying in bed after work, and I go on Facebook, and it was, Indians posted calling out all Tribe fans. We're looking for a governor of Brohio to get 117 up in arms and excited every Friday and Saturday. And I looked at it, and I literally said to myself, "Oh, I got this." And I did a screen capture of what I said and just saved it. But I've never posted it because that's just cocky by this point. But and I'm not like that. But So I go on there and I look into it. I'm like, yeah, this is my calling. Like this is everything I've ever wanted, because I wanted to be a personality.
Yeah, yeah.
And since the age of 9, I've always said I'm either going to be a comedian or a Cleveland Indian. Unfortunately, I don't have the greatest swing in baseball, and unfortunately, I'm not funny. So I wasn't going to be either.
Meet in the middle. Meet in the middle.
Yeah, so I looked into it, and it was to pretty much be. People jokingly say male cheerleader, but I could call it a hype man.
Yeah, yeah.
In Section 117. And every Friday and Saturday during the 2014 season, I would show up in Section 117 with the official Brohio flag, which, let me take a step back. Brohio started in 2013 after Indians player Nick Swisher, because of his outgoing personality and being from Ohio. He's a Columbus boy. And he put basically Bro and Ohio together and make Brohio. So it's a fun, energetic fan section, and we do a lot of chants, we do a lot of cheers. I do some jokes, I because there are times where the game is slower. If we're in the third inning and there's one hit between both teams, so normally we'd either sing happy birthday to a younger fan or somebody else. But the best joke of them all was when we'd pull somebody, like an outgoing guy, mid-30s, whatever, and they always make their presence known with me. They're like, "Hey, governor, blah blah blah." So I would always take advantage of their energy, and I'd be like, "Hey, man, what's your name?" And they'd be like, "I'm Rob." So I'd be like, "Hey, Rob, you want to see how to get the crowd really going?" And their response would be, "Oh, yeah, sure." So I'd be like, "All right, stand up for a second." I look at the crowd and say, "Hey, everybody, this is my friend Rob." And before they would say, "Hi, Rob," I would yell, "He's buying the beer." And the whole crowd, yeah! And they always started chanting Rob or whatever the man's name would be. I would always do that to a middle-aged man, though. I would never do that to a child. They would start crying, and they're not legally allowed to buy beer.
Yeah.
And, that's just cruel to do to a nice woman,
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm a gentleman when I pull pranks.
A gentleman and a scholar, of course.
But yes, so back to business. So with Brohio, I entered this contest in January, like right away. And it was a video entry, and for all those listening right now, I am a Kent 2012 Electronic Media Productions major.
There you go. That's what's
up. So I graduated
in
2012 and have been doing a bunch of different stuff in the past 2 years before all this stuff happened. So I did my video entry, and being a professional videographer obviously was to my advantage when we were submitting videos.
Of course.
And I don't know if you guys seen the video or if anybody else, but it went somewhat viral at first. It was wildfire on my personal social media, because it was titled Adam Gokowski for governor of Brohio, endorsed by Jim Tressel.
Yeah.
And I have a friend named Anthony Lagoria, whose father is a VP at Akron, and at the time, so was Tressel. And Anthony brought up to my attention, he's like, hey, would you like to have Tressel in your video? And I'm like, yeah, but I would also like Jesus at my birthday party. Like, you know, like, how serious are you on this? Like, that sounded way too good to be true. So he goes, oh, let me talk to my dad, blah, blah, blah. And Anthony, by the way, is a 40-year-old man married with a child and another child on the way. He's a business friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, all right, Anthony, that'd be great, but come on, man.
Can you make it happen?
Can you make this happen? Like, you can't, you know. But God forbid, man, he did. And
That's nuts.
It was a case where when he dropped the bomb on me, he's like, hey, Tressel agreed. You had to take a step back, and you're like, okay, like, there's no way. But, dude, believe it or not, Tressel wasn't just excited about it. He was more excited than any of us. And if you see the campaign video, which if you follow me on Twitter at BroHioGov, I'll post it again after the show. The ending, because the first 40 seconds is just me doing a spiel with photos of my past and me traveling and stuff. But that last 20 seconds, him and his coworker, they wrote that. I didn't come up with that. That was 100% Jim Tressel and another woman named Kim Gentile. That was them. They came up with that 100% themselves. And I just told them how I wanted to end my 40 seconds. And in the video, I say, if you don't believe these people, which were the players in the video, hopefully you'll believe my friends here. And then it cut to Tressel. And that was their whole thing, like doing the turnaround and everything. So it was a one take. I wanted to get it shot and gone because, when you have a moment of Jim Tressel, you got to take advantage of every single second of it.
Absolutely.
So it was now I have this video file on this camera of me with Jim Tressel, and I had some of the video already edited on my computer of just like the beginning of it, just to basically put the skeleton together. And when I'm sitting in the car and I'm looking, and we got a few pictures with him. So the first thing I did was and I will give credit 110% to this school that we're sitting in the Journalism and Mass Communications of Kent State. Mm-hmm. And that was the advantage I had with the other competitors, was I knew how to distribute my work. And I was terrified that I was going to make this video and it was going to get lost in the archives of all the people, entering this contest. So the first thing I did was I went on Instagram, I uploaded the photo, put a cool filter to it, and tagged the Indians saying, Gokowski, in quotations, Gokowski for governor, Jim Tressel. And I just wanted whoever ran the social media with, at the time I didn't know who it was, mm-hmm. I just wanted them to know it's coming. So it's kind of like a preview to the movie. Yeah. And they immediately, I'm talking within like maybe 5 minutes, they responded, please submit your video ASAP. Wow. And I immediately started freaking out. I'm like, okay, perfect. Now I know I have something good in my hands. Now I know that I'm pulling a trick out of my sleeve, because the beauty of it is, I don't know if any of you guys know, but I'm sure you guys do, being big sports fans, but Tressel, the Indians themselves, used him to bring Swisher to Cleveland.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, because Swisher was here for like 2 nights, and they had a luncheon at Terrace Club, and there's Jim Tressel sitting there. So that was the Swisher bait was Tressel. And I'm like, I have the same exact human being that brought this player here that this is all for in my campaign video. Like, what else, like,
how are you gonna lose this now?
Dude. And it was crazy because, I'm like, okay, exactly, like, how can I at least not get in the Final Four?
Oh, of course.
And at the time, I thought it was Final 3, so I can't tell you how many times I searched Brohio on YouTube just to see other people's submission videos. And I kind of knew who was going to get in there because of the quality of the video. And it wasn't a video contest, but when you put the effort into it, you could tell who was really dedicated to it. And so I just remember going, there has to be at least 2 videos better than this for me not to get into this contest, or 3 or 4. Yeah. Like, I knew it was going to take a lot. If I have Jim Tressel, Mr. Ohio Football himself, from the corner of Youngstown down to Central to Columbus to Akron. The man is beloved here, in the state of Ohio. And regardless of what happened with him and Terrell Pryor and everything, the man is loved. He is exactly who you think he is. He is a class act. He is a very polite man. It loves upper education. Huge supporter of it. I mean, obviously.
Of course.
President of Youngstown State now, and then, being in Akron and everything. But he is a class act. So what happened was after that, I go and immediately after work, just go crazy. Like Dr. Frankenstein. I'm the video editor, and I start putting together this video, and I'm just literally tweaking because I've never been this excited to put any of my work together. And when you see the video, I had myself on camera for 40 seconds with cool upbeat music and photos of me and different players, me and my friends, me all over the country. Because fun fact, I've seen the Indians in 12 different stadiums.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's impressive.
And that's a story we'll get to in a little bit. But so when I completed this video, I sat back, because anytime I complete a very serious video of any sort, very professionally done, I always take about 5 feet back and watch it. And when I was completely done, before it was ready to export, and then I watched it probably 15 times before I uploaded it, but after I exported it, I'm like, this is my greatest work I've ever done. Like, this is unreal, how it came out. Like, I've never been that proud of myself, and I know I sound like an ego now, but my point being is it was very exciting for me. I was just so excited just to see the reception of it. So the first thing I do was, of course, submit it to the Indians before, because I didn't want to post it anywhere else and completely forget about it. No, I submitted it, pressed the submission button, and just went, it's out there, good to go. And then I'm like, okay, let's have some fun. I posted it on my Facebook, and my God, dude, the response from people, all, just high school friends, people that knew me when I was born, college friends, company friends, coworkers, relatives, whoever, dude, they were so unbelievably excited, because Jim Trussell to begin with, as I said, and then you had, me doing my whole thing, and then, they were excited for the competition. So a few days later, hold on 1 second. Okay, cool. So, okay. So we got a break in a few minutes, so I'll wrap this story up about the
We can continue it right after. Just got to get a live read in.
Cool, no problem. And so, anyways, what happened was I submitted, and it took some time, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, when am I going to find out? When am I going to find out? And then a man who is a cool guy, very cool guy from the Indians, Joel Hammond, calls me. He goes, hey, my name's Joel. I'm from communications with the Cleveland Indians. I saw your video entry. I just want to, follow up with you and see if you're available for Tribe Fest on the 25th. And I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, okay. We'll keep in touch in a moment. And then he called me back in 5 minutes. Basically, what they do is just a background check, make sure everything is going well, and making sure that
Making sure you're not a serial killer.
Basically. But, you never know, because all they had was, I submitted my social media accounts to them for them to see and get a vibe. But they also wanted to speak to me. And then they called back, and I was just ecstatic, dude. I'm like, okay, so now we're going to Tribe Fest on on January 25th. And actually, this is a perfect spot to cut to the next part, you know. But I was immediately, I'm going, I was picked number 1. Because they announced it on Twitter as well, of that, my old Twitter account, FoulPulls11, is going to be, contestant number 1 at Tri-Fest to be the governor of Brohio. So immediately just wildfire.
Yeah.
And everyone is, oh my God, this is so exciting. Good for you, blah, blah, blah. And I knew I had something very, very special. So we got 10 seconds. So
alrighty, we just gotta get a quick live read in here. Hey listeners, this week's show of the week, unfortunately, is not us. This week's show of the week is Rap Art. Each week, DJ, I'm sorry if I butcher this, Makaweli combines art, community service, and hip hop cultures over the airwaves. Do you want to feel good and listen to some great hip hop tunes? Then Rap Art is a show for you. Every Thursday from noon to 2 only on your home for radio, blacksquirrelradio.com. Now we're back with the governor continuing the story. Let's hear the rest of it.
Well, I will say I would love to be on that show too.
That does sound like a good time.
I love some rap and I love art.
If you know anything about me besides the governor stuff, I obviously don't post this online too much just because it's a little bit ridiculous, but I'm a huge fan of, and I'm dead serious when I say this, 1990s, early 90s, Yo MTV Raps era, West Coast gangster rap.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
Ice Cube, Dr. Dre.
I can dig it.
That show's another one I can just go on for 4 hours and just talk about everything.
Back when MTV was MTV.
Well, and actually, funny that you bring up MTV because I just recently met Steve-O.
Are you serious?
And that I'll say because that's later on. But yeah, dude, it was as I quote Steve-O, as I'm rephrased, yeah, dude. But that I'll get to in a moment later on. But so Tribe Fest, it was literally the snowiest day in Cleveland. Were you there?
I was not. All I can think of when I hear snow and Tribe is Paul Bird's near no hitter.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
My brother was there. I didn't go. I think I had something going on that day.
Dude, holy God. It was probably... I just remember being very cold and very, 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 very snowy. And I remember the Indians were immediately posting, yes, we're still doing this, yes, everything. Because fans were asking because the weather was getting that bad. I mean,
Yeah,
when you
of
have
course.
an event in Cleveland in January... Well, if you have an event in July in Cleveland, chances are,
There might be some sprinkles of snow.
Yeah, exactly. Cleveland is never safe. And, sometimes you can have 80 degrees in February. Sometimes you can have...
Negative 20 degrees in July.
In July. You just never know. And so the show must go on.
Of course.
And for all those who don't know what Tri-Fest is, and let me just do a plug real fast.
Go for it,
Tri-Fest, this in 2015... is on Saturday, June... Oh, God, why am I keep saying June? January 24th and 25th.
All right.
So it's all basically the same weekend as last year. And so the show must go on. And Tribe Fest, it's an event for the fans to engage during the off-season, get some autographs, see Slider, have some ballpark food that you haven't had since the season. It's a lot of fun. It's tons of fun. And they put us on stage, me and the 3 other contestants, with Jim Rosenhaus, who is the one of the guys from the radio on 1100.
Yeah.
And great guy, very friendly guy. And, of course, Nick Swisher.
Bro.
And, yeah, bro, yeah, hey, hood. And he, and the beauty of it is I met Swisher in Seattle in 2012.
Okay.
And that was ballpark number, at the time, 11, ballpark 11.
All right.
And I went up to him, and that was actually pretty funny too because I ran into I'm standing there before the game because here's a fun fact for anybody who follows any baseball team of any sort. If you want to meet a ball player or even catch a baseball, you have to go during batting practice at an away game.
Yep.
Because the chances of having many Cleveland fans in Seattle, well, I can tell you it's not too many.
Yeah, I could imagine.
But believe it or not, there was actually still quite a few there because anybody I would meet, because I'm originally from Twinsburg, people are like, oh, hey, man, I'm from Cuyahoga Falls. Hey, I'm from, where was it? Oh, my God, I completely blanked on it. Barberton. And I'm just like, my God, like, we're across the country, and we have a radius of maybe 15 miles from each other.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But that happens all the time. And any time I see the Indians on the road, or any Cleveland team on the road for that matter. And so I go out there, and I'm standing there, and these people just come up to me like, hey, which one's Nick Swisher? And I'm like, oh, he's number 33 over there. And they go, okay. And they were very quiet, very nice, and the woman kind of just opens up to me, and the man, just casual, middle-aged people, and he's like, oh, yeah, we're Nick's, I forget what the relation was, like stepbrother's father and mother-in-law, like something crazy like that. Like
Yeah.
I know a guy that knows a guy
Once removed on his mother's side.
exactly. Like I know a guy that knows Mel Gibson, kind of deal. It's like, okay, so you're 1,000 degrees.
Yeah,
Or
where's Kevin Bacon in this?
exactly. So they okay, yeah, all right, yeah. So number 33, and they just stand there all quiet, and then God forbid the man just looks and goes, Nick, and Nick just looks like he's just seeing like another fan waves, and then he pauses, stops and beelines it to these people, hogs them and everything. And I'm sitting there going, my God, this is true. They really do know him. And I've been a big Swisher fan well into, the early years of the Yankees and probably even a little bit of White Sox. And honestly, probably even a little bit of his Oakland years. The man's a big personality, big charity guy.
Yeah.
Very philanthropic. And so, he's good for the league. And so I'm all excited. And these people hand me their phone. I take a picture of them with him. And they're all excited. And he's hugging. They're asking him about the baby and everything. And he's like, oh, yeah, I love being a dad. Yeah, it's great. And I'm standing there going, no way. And I'm taking pictures of Swisher. And honestly, he was closer to me than you guys are to me right now.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
That's
And
nuts.
so I immediately, since I took a picture, I asked for one myself. And so we take that picture, which little I knew was going to be huge.
Yeah.
And so I take this picture with him. I post it on social media. Everyone's, oh my God, no way, blah, blah, blah. So what happened was, Tri-Fest, now we fast forward to, 5-6 months later, and I had this master plan. I was going to take that picture and autograph it myself. So I wrote, Nick, thanks for being awesome, Adam Gokowski. And my mom, God bless my mother, she gives the worst advice. She goes to me, he's not going to like that. That's going to come off too cocky. Don't do that. Please don't do that. And I'm like, no, I'm doing it.
I'm doing it.
I'm doing
This
it.
is
I'm
happening.
like, I'm done with my teenage rebellion years, and I'm going to do it, Mom. Like, come on. You know me better. You've raised me for so long, So I go on stage, and they're asking me a bunch of questions, and they're asking the other contestants a bunch of questions. And then Swish goes for the final question. And I'm mentally keeping pace with everybody. I'm like, okay, they haven't done anything that really outshined me yet. I haven't done anything to outshine them yet. We were pretty much on the same page. Mm-hmm. We were going, okay, we're slow and steady. And then the final question was, if you had one last word to say why you should be governor of Brohio, what should it be? And I stand up, take the mic, and I go, guys, what's in this bag you're going to love. And I said something, and I'm like, just watch his reaction, and then watch your own reaction. Here we go. So I hand him this bag, and on video, because the Indians took video of this, he's looking at me, big-eyed and all, with a bit of a smirk of like, okay, what can this possibly be? And my God, it was like literally the perfect picture of him, pulling out this picture of him and I, autographed by me, and he is cheesing like it's Wisconsin. And the man is beyond excited. And in the video, he is just dying laughing hysterically because nobody knew except for me, my buddy, my mother, and Joel from the Indians, because I had to get approval for that.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about it. So it was the ultimate surprise.
That's great.
And he got the reaction. And Jim Rosenhaus just has this crazy look on his face, too. And he goes, well, it's all about timing. and everybody was laughing. Everyone got a good kick out of it. And it was a lot of fun. And I left Tri-Fest feeling great. But it wasn't over yet because it was 50% Swisher and 50% votes.
Yeah.
And the voting didn't start until, honestly, a few days later when they uploaded the video and everything. And because they wanted the fans to be able to see a few clips from all the contestants. But my God, when the voting opened, the social media was like a floodgate. And people are just so excited for it. They're like, oh, vote for Adam, vote for Adam. And honestly, I've been very self-conscious about my work, even in my Kent days, even my high school days, even if it was just local access, back scenes, trustees meetings. I've always been very self-conscious. And with the video of my campaign with Trussell to the Tri-Fest stuff, I've never felt more love because, as I said earlier, high school friends, college friends, fraternity brothers, just anybody who ever met me, they were supporting and they were, please vote for Adam, please vote for Adam, please vote. And honest to God, it had to go close to 200 people that just was tagging me. And I couldn't stop the craziness. And I'm like, I've always wanted this. And of course, my ego was just building and boosting and everything.
Head getting bigger and bigger.
But the thing was, and I've openly admitted this, it had nothing to do with the attention on myself. It had to do with my love for the game and being able to entertain other people. So that was a lot of fun. So then the campaign, it was like 10 days of voting. It was the longest 10 days of my life.
I bet.
And my God, dude, it was so exhausting when it was over. And I lost like 8 pounds. Honest to God.
Wow.
In that process, I lost 8 pounds because I cared about one thing and one thing only.
Winning
so,
governor.
Luckily, with me, showers mean more to me than eating. So
Thankfully.
at least I wasn't stinking. All right.
Yeah.
I was showering and I tried
Shrinking, not stinking.
exactly. So I win, and they announced it on Twitter that I won, and my life never been the same since. A lot of craziness happened, and I mean, like right out the gates. I had to be at this one event, and I was interviewed on Channel 5, and I was doing this, I was doing that, and I was very, very excited to finally get the spotlight on me to be a personality for the first time in 24 years. And especially since having this dream since I was 9 to be a comic or a Cleveland Indian. Now it's a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. It was just chaos. So, with February coming in, and then literally it went from Channel 5 to, this event being interviewed on Channel 5. And then I met Ashley Collins from, it's not All Bets Are Off now. It's Drennan Live.
Yeah.
But she's from Sports Time, Ohio. So I take a picture with her, and then she's like, hey, call on the show tomorrow. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be on with Bruce Drennan. Like, no way. No way. Even though it was just a phone interview, the thing was, they played my campaign video from start to finish.
Wow.
And, anybody in this building of Franklin Hall here at Kent State, it is a very, very, very fame-driven career. Mm-hmm. Broadcasters, like you guys definitely want to one day have a national sports talk radio show.
Absolutely.
You bet.
The news anchors, I mean, my God, they're the ones who are the hungriest. But even like somebody in my field, which I'm an odd cat. 90% of people in electronic media productions do not want to be on camera. I wanted to be on camera, and the reason why I had this degree is because I needed a backup, and I needed to edit my own footage. And it's exactly what happened. I edited my own stuff. I shot my own stuff, and I posted my own stuff. But not too many people want to be on camera, but they also want to be the Academy Award-winning director. They want to be
the Scorsese.
The Scorsese, and maybe not even that, dude. They might want to be working at DreamWorks or whoever owns Star Wars now, Disney, and do the cool, I don't know, bombs blowing up in World War II movies or lightsabers or anything cool like that, because honestly, that's cool.
It is.
It's very cool. And, I realized that moment that every single cent of my college loans came through with me on this. And it was crazy to think that, Intro to Mass Comm, I'm sitting there and listening to Mary Worozinski. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
FYE
Yep.
teacher right there.
Yep,
Mary
me too.
Worozinski and Mark Worozinski might be Kent's cutest couple. And Mark was my old boss at Teleproductions, which is in the Music and Speech building. Mm-hmm. And he used to grant me, or title me, the only quote-unquote frat guy to make it through his program.
Wow.
And I'll discuss a little bit of that stuff soon. But so with that, Mary Worozinski came in with Professor Sheldon's class.
Yep.
Which that's the story. That's the next part I'll mention with him. But I had him in fall of 2008 when you guys were in. I don't even want to know.
I can't even think off the top of my head where that
Probably
puts me.
sixth grade.
Somewhere around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so she comes in, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to be an EMP major, but I definitely wanted to be a personality. And she comes in, and there's been many different guest speakers in that class. You have photojournalism, you have broadcast, you have print journalism. You had everything in there. And when she came in, she's talking like, oh yeah, people do writing for Letterman, and people have produced this, and people have been on that. And my God, dude, my ears were huge that day. That was like, out of all my academic success, that was the day my life changed. And somewhere in September of 2008, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, I'm in the right major. And out of all my brothers and sister, there's 2 brothers, 1 sister. I'm the only one that did not switch a major because I was so dedicated right out the gate to be a personality. Like, that's all I cared about. So Professor Sheldon, who honest to God in my eyes is the greatest professor I've ever had, if not greatest teacher in 12 years of regular public schools and 4 years here, the man was very inspirational to me.
Yeah, I have him this year as well for my NPC class, and he's quite the man.
And my God, and his story is unreal. Like, if you ever have a chance to sit down and talk to him, do it. Absolutely do it. And I call him. I was because we always kind of kept in touch, but since I graduated, we lose touch. But he had my brother. My brother's 3 years younger than me, and he would stop class because I was very, very active in his class. Mm-hmm. And there would be times it'd just be me and him having conversations and 149 other people in the room. That's the kind of guy he was, and that's the kind of person I am. We just love talking to each other about life. And so I call him after I won, explain to him everything, and I have never heard such pride out of that man's voice for his students.
That's great.
And he was one of those guys where very, very professional man. He is Professor Sheldon. You are his students. He's been there. You learned from him. Straight up. Mm-hmm. Very respectful at the same time, but he's very old school. Very classy man.
Yes.
He is the epitome of upper education when it comes to his titles and his pride and stuff like that. He's worked very hard and deserved every bit of credit that he gets. But he gave me the biggest compliment I've ever received. We talk for about 20 minutes. I tell him everything, and I tell him what's going on and everything. And he's like, oh, we got to do lunch, which I still got to take him up on his offer. I've emailed him recently.
I actually think he might be listening to this because I was telling him about this show
really?
what day it was on. So, Professor Shelton, if you're listening, I got Adam Gokowski here.
He might be calling in soon.
Yeah, absolutely. we actually are gonna need to take a break here in about 3 minutes, take a little calls. So if you're listening, Professor Sheldon, go ahead and give a call in.
Oh, so okay, so we got 3 more.
Yeah,
minutes. Okay, perfect.
Minutes.
So once again, these breaks just land on perfect time.
Absolutely,
and
we planned it that way for you.
Perfect, perfect. But so when I'm talking to him, he was just because the thing is with him and I should have mentioned this. He's a big baseball guy too. Mm-hmm. Him and I kind of bonded on this. He old school Yankees, old school Indians, old school Dodgers, if memory stands correct. He was around for the 60s, and the 60s have some of the greatest players of all time in the Hall of Fame. He saw a lot of great players in his life, and he's traveled across the country. And I remember him telling me that he liked Swisher a lot from his Yankees years and stuff. But he said the one compliment to me that if I really, honest to God, hope that you guys get this one day, and anybody who's ever taken his class get the same compliment. So as we're ending the conversation, I say, Professor Sheldon, thank you for everything you've ever done, and thank you for your support. He said to me this, honest to God, he goes, Adam, please call me Eugene.
No
and
way.
Your eyes just told it all. Because if anybody knows him, and I tried to explain this to my mom, and I just explained this to Amy Wilkins, my old advisor. It was harder to get that approval from him, to call him by his first name, than to win the contest.
Wow. Because I know exactly what you're talking about. Because I get an email the first week of class, and he's, like you said, very professional, very old school. He's like, if you send me an email, my name is not hello. My name is not hey. Yeah. It is Professor Sheldon. Yeah. It is not Gene. It is certainly not Eugene. And I'm just like, oh, this guy means business.
Maybe he said Gene. If I quoted him wrong, I'm sorry if you're listening. But it was definitely, he wanted me to call him by his first name.
That is crazy.
And I mean, your eyes lighting up. I wish this was on camera. It was really that. And I go on my Facebook, I take a picture of him from the JMC site, and I said that exact same story. And a lot of people who have had him liked the stuff, and they commented on very good stuff on his behalf. I mean, he deserved everything. And I wanted to make sure that people knew that I wouldn't be all over the news. And it was right after I won. I wouldn't be on the news. I wouldn't be even won this contest if it wasn't for the stuff I learned from him and his class. So it was a huge honor to at least give some spotlight to the man, for one of the many people that taught me everything I needed to learn to win this competition.
Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. And believe us when we say having him say you can call him Gene is nothing to take lightly. Like I was saying, we got to take a quick commercial break. We're going to play a couple songs here. And then during this time, like I said, anybody wants to get a call in, want to talk to the Gov, get some questions they want to ask, the number is 330-672-7700. 330-672-7700. We will be back.